Karsch and Anderson, 97 won the ticket. Happy playoff day in Detroit. And without further ado, let's go right to Dan Dickerson, the voice of the Tigers. Hello, Dan.
Hello. This is fun,
Isn't it great?
What's this, playoff baseball?
October baseball in Detroit.
Who knew?
Where does that moment in Cleveland on Monday rank for you in all of your professional career?
I mean, it's all the postseason games, right? The ones that they win with some dramatics in it. Those are always probably in the that top 10 or whatever. So it's in there for sure. It's so funny. Like on the Maglio home run in 06, you're trying to anticipate what might happen. What's the most likely thing to happen here? And you hear, I'm expecting Maglio to hit the single to right because that's what he did all year to drive in a run. And then he hits the home run. That's a no-doubter. I'm picturing Carpenter because nobody hits home runs against Class A. I'm picturing a single to left center. Maybe a jam job because that cutter is coming in on him. And that ball left his bat. The funny thing was Meadows had hit one high off the bat at about a similar angle a couple innings before that ended up on the warning track. I thought that ball was going out, and I think he got it off the end of the bat a little bit. So this one I hesitate a little bit because it was such a high angle. And then you watch Brennan in right field turn. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can drag this out for a second.
Well, all three of us felt the same thing about Parker Meadows. We thought it was a home run, and it wasn't. And you're going through, as a broadcaster, okay, how am I going to anticipate this? But how could you possibly anticipate? This is Class A.
Oh, my gosh.
That's
why it was so beautiful. I mean, it's just, oh.
And you get Jake Rogers and Trey Sweeney get base hits off of – they did that off of Class A. And then you get a third guy up like, there's no way.
Giving up back-to-back hits maybe once this year, maybe none, because he gave up, 35 hits this year? Yeah, to get 3 hits in a row with 2 out spaces empty to win it?
And then it was 4 hits in a row because Vierling comes up next and gets a base hit. That's insane, Dan.
It really was.
That's what this season is, though. This season has been insane.
Yeah, at some point you just have to go, we can't explain it. But you know what you can explain is that the way that these guys, the preparation in every at-bat, and so that preparation that you've done all season now becomes heightened in the postseason. I can think of the number just so many times where I said, this pitcher allows a 170 batting average. I mean, Class A was 115 batting average against lefties. And they come up with good at-bats because of the way that they are prepped, because of the way these guys talk to them about, okay, this at-bat, you're going to get this. You have to look here, and you're going to attack that. And the quality of the at-bats late is impressive, and it's all the prep that the hitters do and the staff.
I love post-game when they brought it up to AJ, the Kerry Carpenter home run. He goes, yeah, but how about the 2 singles before?
And the Perez at-bat at the end of the 8th inning. I mean, he showed this guy's not unhittable. Line drive on a 1-2.
Yep.
I think that's one of those ones you're like, oh, that's a good swing.
Yeah.
And then it leads to more good swings the next inning. I don't know, but it's certainly, a piece of it.
Part of the magic, though, is it was the last vestiges of the JV trade, and a guy that was perceived as a throw-in on the Flaherty trade. The Tigers didn't perceive him that way, but the public did, and those are the guys that came through to lead up to the Kerry Carpenter. What is he, a 21st round pick or 19th round pick coming through in this massive moment?
Yeah, in a massive moment. And Sweeney, the double play he turned, runners at first and third in a 0-0 game in the 7th or 6th. Man, and it was a 6th inning. That was a thing of beauty because he had to charge, and he's actually fielding on the grass and throwing it back to his left, to Keith. Also an example of how much Keith has improved defensively. And it's been this way all year long. He was a little slow on the turn. He wasn't turning double plays at a great clip early. He's become very efficient because he works, and Joey Cora works with these guys. That was not an easy double play. That was beautifully turned. Sweeney's been huge for this team.
As I was going to say, as great as we've seen the pitching staff pitch in the second half of the season in particular, I think the real growth is on the defensive side because early in the season, this was not a very good defensive baseball team. Torkelson was not good at first base. He was missing plays. Obviously, Baez had taken a step back with what he was doing in the field. And they looked kind of lost. You weren't sure who was going to play third base and what was going on. Now in the second half of the season, the defense is a strength of this team as much as the pitching is.
Yeah, the numbers back it up. And defensive runs saved is not, a be-all, end-all, but it's a pretty good – it gives you a start in the right direction of where the strengths of a team are. And they're third in the American League. And you notice the good defensive teams are right up there in the playoffs. But it is a reflection of right now, Green, Meadows, whether it's Vierling in right or Perez in right, they just don't want to let anything drop. In this ballpark, that's huge. Not as big in Cleveland because that ballpark is, so much smaller. But you're right. There's just right now you're going around the infield, you're going around the outfield. Everybody's playing at a very high level, and Torkelson's much improved defensively at first base. That's not a small piece of it when you see him, the scoops that he makes, the stretch that he made on that double play. You're right. It's a big, big component. Defense is such a big part of postseason baseball. You can't give away 90 feet.
We could relive Game 2 forever, but Game 3 today obviously is massive, and I think their starting pitcher is a bit of a mystery. He's got 16 innings pitched this year, midseason acquisition. He's had a fingernail issue. He had blister issues.
Shoulder.
Yeah, what do we do with this guy? What do we know about him?
He's old.
He's
Alex Weber talking about. Cobb. Sorry. Cobb.
He's a ground ball machine. And it's sinker slider, and it's tough to get that ball off the ground. So that gets back to the approach in the game planning. You've got to find a way to get that ball in the air. Not easy. I mean it's short sample, but I mean he's a ground ball 55-60% ground ball guy. So it's a challenge. But I would go back to what you just said. It's limited innings this year. I think just 3 starts. He has not started in the major league since early September. He's made some rehab starts, couple, but again, that blister issue keeps popping up. I'm not picturing a long start, but I am picturing while he's in there, it's going to be tough. But the goal every game is not going to change. You have to score runs early against this Cleveland team. You just do, because it's the best bullpen I don't know, maybe ever seen in terms of the depth and the quality and their production.
Tarek Skubal likely to Cy Young winner, but I mean, how do you take that away from undecided? This guy undecided has been incredible
so good
for the Tigers.
Undecided, TBA, whatever you want to call him.
TBA's good, man.
It's really good.
But
TBA's good.
It's a testament to AJ and Chris Fetter.
It is.
They've been doing this for so long.
The thought that goes into it, guys, is just I have a feel for it, but I don't think I have any real understanding of the depth to which. I think AJ, every waking moment now, especially in the postseason, and again, it's the matchup is not, you guys know, not just right-left. It's what does this guy's stuff do against this hitter, against this part of the lineup. That's why he brought Jackson Jobe in when he did, I'm pretty sure. He threw cutters and changeups with 2 fastballs in that game in Houston, but he was facing 6, 7, 8. It's like, this is what you need to throw against these guys to get soft contact. Guess what? He got soft contact. It was just, it didn't, some balls fell. It didn't work out. But that's the level of detail in all these matchups, and it's going to be so important, obviously, because this will probably be another day where they use 5, 6, 7 pitchers to cover 27 outs. But they are so specific in their matchups. They are so good at it, and it's why you just feel so good when it's TBA, and it's probably not a bulk day. It might be, but the way it's going to play out, if they just keep getting outs, I picture more of what we saw in Game 2 in Houston.
So you're around the team more than we are. When you get after a game like the other night, right, and then they got to go and discuss who's going to pitch the next day. I mean, do they put the lab coats on as a slide roll out and they shut the door? It's the laboratory. I mean, how long do you think that these guys contemplate what they have to do? Is it an all-night affair? Or?
No, I think they probably knew who was going to start Game 3. I don't know, but my guess is it's going to be Tyler Holton. Doesn't matter what he did the other day. This guy's been money. You wanted to get through the first 4 guys, probably. But the way I like it, AJ describes it is, okay, there's a plan, there's a general plan, but he's always got, as he talks about, pass to victory, 3 pass, 4 pass to victory, depending on what this guy does. All right, now I'm reading and reacting. I know I'd like this guy to follow this guy if he does this. If he gets through the first 4, I know I want this guy to come in next to face this part of the lineup. If it goes a little bit deeper and he's now in the bottom, this part of the lineup, I'm going to bring this guy in. So that's how it plays out. But all of the thought before the series even begins is these are the matchups that we're going to look for throughout the series, also remembering that you don't want to overexpose any one reliever against any part of the lineup.
The baseball postseason, everything's magnified, and we've gotten calls about Tork, Green, and Keith not doing much offensively. Right-handed pitcher today. Could be some good matchups for a couple of those guys. But, they've done it so far without getting much out of them, but it feels like eventually somebody's going to break out there.
Yeah, you have to. You just have to score some runs early. You just do.
Yeah.
And everything does, like you said, everything gets magnified. Also, remember, it's really more. We should appreciate the guys who are performing well offensively in the postseason because you're facing the best pitching. You're usually not facing the same guy twice sometimes. So, and again, I look at what are the quality of the at-bats so far.
Right.
How many times has Roddy Green hit a ball hard? You know, it's been a couple. So, yeah, does he need to get the bat going? Sure, he knows that. But look at the quality of the at-bats. How many times did the guy hit the ball hard? Maybe he struck out, but did he have a good at-bat in terms of his approach? We don't even know what his approach was going to the at-bat. So just always remember that. I mean,
guys are still walking, moving runners over.
Right, it's like Bobby Witt Jr. hasn't got a hit in the first 2 games. Oh, yeah, but has he made some plays?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So anyway,
yeah.
It's it gets very magnified. They know that, but I think the staff does a good job of just like, hey, are you sticking with your approach? Are you doing what you want to in the at-bat, even if you didn't have a successful end of the at-bat result? And then make sure that you know your game plan going into the game today. You're trying to hit the ball hard at all times. It's harder in the postseason, period.
Is there an offensive player that has really surprised you with being able to come up in the moment? I mean, obviously Carpenter, but Carpenter had played well when he's been healthy. He's been that guy all season. But
we were talking about Wenzel Perez the other day.
Yeah.
Again, the numbers are not going to blow you away, but that was a very calm at bat.
Right.
When he almost singled and Quan made the great catch, and I do think it was a catch. But seriously, 1-2 against Class A, lefty's hitting 115 for a reason. And that was a very calm at bat, but that's what he's done all year. So if the numbers don't blow you away, it's like, but look at the quality of the at bats throughout the course of the season. They haven't wavered. That means, to me, that the upside, we're going to see a lot of upside in this young man in the years ahead.
Well, I don't know how many people have called our show and said, because of the timing of these games, when Ibanez had his bases clearing double and Carpenter hit his home run, so many people weren't in front of a TV because of the timing. And we've had so many people call and say, what an amazing call from Dan Dickerson. It is. I almost want to give everyone your personal phone number so they can thank you.
That's very
nice.
nice.
We'll do that later. But it's you've made some epic calls. You've been in the moment, and people have noticed it and love it, and it's got to be so much fun for you.
It really is. I mean, the fun part for me is hearing, like, where people were. I mean, somebody's talking about being at an intersection during the Ibanez double, and people are honking their horn. That, to me, is fun to hear about that because, I mean, these Tiger fans are so amazing, and I can't wait to hear that ballpark today. But it's just a joy to be able to bring October baseball to them again and, you know, have these big moments. And this team, it's just they keep providing big moments, and I can't wait to call a few more.
What are the guys in the booth next to you saying? Not I'm talking about the Cleveland guys, Tom Hamilton and the crew, because you've known them forever.
Right.
Like they've been doing this as longer than you've been doing it.
Yeah.
What do you guys talk about after a game like that?
Don't. I mean, generally, you're not going to talk to guys after a game anyway. We do our post-game shows, and one leaves, the other leaves. So generally, you're not, unless it's the last day and they're leaving town. You know, hey, have a good off season, or see you next year, which we I think said to those guys in July. And here we are. Yeah. But Tom's a good friend. We always talk pregame, and just it's just kind of the usual stuff, and kind of just get information about the other team, but just, I don't know, Tom's just one of the best. He has been a mentor to me from the day I came into this league, and I'm forever thankful for that, but just to have a great friendship with him is pretty special.
Well, we appreciate your work and the rotating crew of guys that are in the booth with you, Andy Dirks, Bobby Scales. I can tell you're getting different things out of them and having fun with it.
Oh, my gosh. They're thinking, I mean, you really want to think the game, right? You're just so locked into every pitch. 5-0 the other day, it was a little less so, but still, every game, right? You're trying to, and they just always add that insight that only someone who's been in that batter's box in the major leagues knows what it's like, and I love it.
It's a pleasure having you on. Keep up the great work.
Thanks, man.
He's the man.
Thanks, buddy.
He's Dan Dickerson. Here on Karsch and Anderson, outside Comerica Park, Tiger playoff baseball coming up today. Much more to come. 97.1 The Ticket.